Every summer that I would see pictures, I'd be like, just walk along the street and see if I see her. So I love this. I love these guys.
Oh my God, the first time I was with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're sitting behind the table though.
Right,
That's so right.
Yeah.
And who is that other?
Excuse me, back.
From up Cape and Wellesley.
Right.
Elizabeth. I think it's wow. Oh man.
We are going to get started before anyone else
Are you
on
on
the
there?
live stream. Yep, we're on. Oh no, you got to turn it the other way. Turn it that way. Yeah. Here I am.
Got it, okay.
Okay.
We got it.
So,
back,
what a
briefly.
welcome everybody here to our East End Books P-Town
No.
series at the Provincetown Library, which we're happy to be here again, and thanks to Amy for having us here, and also to hold the live stream for the introductions. Very much appreciated. A couple things. Yes, we will have signed books available after this event in our store here in Provincetown, and Jamie, and I don't know when Jennifer's going to be there again in Boston at my store there, but Jamie I know is going to go tomorrow and sign some books there as well, so we'll have them at our Boston Seaport store also for you. Anyone watching on the live stream at any point, I'd say maybe at least a few minutes before it ends, if you buy either book on our website and say you want a signed copy, we'll get it signed. And when I say that, I mean if you want it to you, Jeff, John, Susie, we'll get it done before they leave. If you just want a regular signed copy, then we'll get those and we'll ship them out to you or have them available for store pickup after that. A couple things, the events coming up, our website has all the events. We keep adding new events every week. The newest of which is just been put on there on the 16th of August at Fine Arts Work Center. We have Sal Del Deo with his beautiful new, not as new, but newest art book, 75 years of his art. So it's going to be a celebration of Sal. It won't be a formal talk like this. It'll be individual chatting and photos and books if you want to buy them. It's a free event, and we just put it on there, so we're really excited to have that happen. Events that are almost sold out, the Brad Gooch Ken Folk event, which is on July 26th, coming up. That event's almost sold out, so if you want tickets, get on there and get them. I mean, we're at the WMR, thanks to WMR, Davis event space, and the regular book event will be up there, regular price, which is free if you need a free ticket, or $5. And then if you want to support 20 Summers, the amazing nonprofit that Julia Glass and others co-founded, we're co-sponsoring with them a dinner that will benefit them 100%. And on our website, there's a link to their ticketing. So you can do one or the other or both for that. And I'll say that the dinner is going to be quite spectacular, and we have 4 local artists in town who are going to be doing some in advance, but then on the spot postcard art in the style of Keith Haring and his contemporaries. And there are other surprises. This is going to be a preview into 20 Summers' new space. They've leased the back of Schoolhouse Gallery, the Goa Gallery, so they're going to have stuff going on year-round now. So this is a kind of preview into that. Anyway, a lot of other things will be on there. The other one that's getting very full is towards the very end of the summer, which is August 23rd. I have Michael Cunningham in conversation with Ben Shattuck. Ben's beautiful new story collection has recently come out, and of course Michael's brilliant book Day, and they will be there for a book event that we're doing there, and there'll be a certain actress we love in the audience, but not on the days because her book comes out in the fall. So which will be the other thing that I'll tell you to watch out for. A couple of events that we're waiting on some dates on in Boston. One is this one. We're going to have Jenny Slate, Ben Shattuck, and Julia Glass. It's kind of a reprisal of what they did. The 3 of them were so generous in December of 2022 in the space that we're in, the Seaport, with nothing there. It was rough, really rough. We did a pop-up, and the 3 of them were so generous, they did an event for me there, which was jam-packed. And so now they want to come back to the nice store, the beautiful store, and so that'll be in the fall. Jenny's new book comes out in October. She goes on tour in October, so look for that. And then we're working on an event. I'm hoping it's going to work out because they're both super busy people. mother-daughter event with Diana Furstenberg and my friend Tatiana, her daughter. Which will probably be done in conjunction with the ICA Museum. Okay, the rest is all on there. You'll see it. So I'm excited to have these two individuals here. Now, Jennifer Bell, it's the first time that I'm meeting her, but I absolutely, I really loved Swanna in Love. Not only reading the print book, but buying the audiobook from my website and listening to that as well with my walks. It was just fantastic. And of course, she is the best-selling author of 4 novels, Going Down, which was named Best Debut Novel by Entertainment Weekly and optioned for the screen 27 times, High Maintenance, Little Stalker, The 7-Year Bitch, and Animal Stackers, a picture book for children illustrated by David McPhail. Her stories and essays, that should remind me to ask you to all turn your phones to silent. I always forget to say that, now I'm reminded. So her stories and essays have appeared in many places, including the New York Times Magazine, Wall Street Journal, The Independent in London, Harper's Bazaar, and many others, including a number of anthologies. So we're really excited to have her. If you haven't read Swanna in Love, you absolutely must read it. You're going to love these characters. They stick in your mind, without a doubt. And then, well, you know, this person I've known a long time, and I think everybody here absolutely adore Jamie, and we've met quite some time ago, and not only, you know, bookseller, author, but became friends and have socialized in New York and elsewhere, and it's just, she's one of my favorite people in the world, and it's like, I texted her earlier today because she's on her tour, of course, is leaving tomorrow, and I said, there's never enough Jamie time. It's like, there was just during COVID, you know, when they were here, what?
4 years? Like 5 months.
For 5 months. Right. She and Adam were, so that was lovely and wonderful.
Just when we couldn't socialize.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's never enough Jamie time.
And she was talking about, too, that my birthday party back then was outside at my friend's, that was Fermine and Jay's house, and we were outside still with masks and separated, and that was the birthday, which I finally was able to have it because we couldn't, like, previous 2 years or whatever it was. So it was really wonderful. But yeah, this amazing individual, all of her books, I mean, I can absolutely say all of her books I have loved and loved. And all of them have sold many, many copies in our store here in Provincetown, and now are selling many, many copies in our new store in the Seaport in Boston. And the new book, A Novel Summer, is just phenomenal. I was lucky enough to have one of the early ARCs, early advanced review copies, and so read it in printed form, and then got early copies of the printed book, reread it, and then could not get until the on sale date the audiobook, even from myself, because it wasn't available as a pre-ARC audio. So I just listened to the audiobook and finished that, and I've got to say that that's quite brilliant as well, if you listen to the audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. I have to read the print book always first before I listen to the audiobook, but you know, I think I could be wrong, but I think there's some characters in the book in the room tonight, so that's quite exciting. And so what do you say about Jamie Brenner, the best-selling author of 7 novels, including A Forever Summer, love that, and Blush, which, you know, I learned a lot about wine from that book, and I love the backstory and who was involved with it and everything else. It was fantastic. Jamie spends her winters writing in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and her summers visiting the beach towns that inspire her books. She's one of the hardest working authors I know, and I just want to say just one thing about this book, if I can then just find my little note on that. Well, I'll just go with this. One of the notes, which says that this is the perfect summer beach read. I always say elevated summer reads from Jamie. Rival bookshops, second chance romance, friend drama. It was the perfect book to curl up and escape to the Cape, and that was from Pamela Kelly, best-selling author of Bookshop by the Bay, which I also really enjoyed. You read that. So we're really excited to have them here. They will be signing books afterwards, and you're in for a treat. You're going to love both of these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear if we talk at this volume? Okay, all right, great. I am so happy to be back here in Provincetown. And any of you who have read A Novel Summer, no surprises, the bookstore is very much based on my love for and experiences in East End books, where I've met friends and authors I've admired and always had a friendly ear in Jeff. So it feels really good to finally be here with the book.
And it's Jeff's birthday tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Can we sing? This isn't a bar. We have to be a little bit drunk to sing.
Right.
But happy birthday.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
It's great to have you guys.
So I've been a huge fan of Jenny Bell's since her first book published many years ago. But it was one of the most sort of ballsy and astonishing things I've read. I was in my 20s, and that Jenny was in her 20s and she managed to publish this. I was like, wow, I can't believe this woman did it. I was like humbled. One of the first people to try to adapt the book or to option it was actually Madonna. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this is an amazing literary story. And every book she's published has been more unique and brilliant and.
Well, thank you, Jamie.
No, seriously. So I have to say, this is a dream
exactly
for me.
the same way about you, and so does everybody here.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So we're going to talk. And even though I was saying this to Jenny earlier, our books are very different in tone and all sorts of ways. I think that makes it really interesting for us to be in conversation, because usually they match me up with another beach author, and they probably put Jenny with someone who's super like literary or.
Well, what is a beach author?
Well, I mean. Okay, that's a much larger question.
Talk about this, 'cause
Okay.
we think your book is a beach book. Your book has a beach on the cover.
Right. And it says
my
summer
book
in it.
has spit on the cover.
You and I are both in publishing likes to put things in their little, boxes. So
Yes.
I mean,
But that's their problem, not our problem.
right.
You're perpetuating this myth.
I am part of the problem. I'm going to confess it right here. I'm fully
My
part
work
of the
is
problem.
done here.
Yeah, look, I mean, we both write books that are hopefully entertaining and that we're exploring characters in dramatic situations, and, we want people to lose themselves in the book. And, I mean, I think we both had very different and varied experiences in publishing. But the thing is, and people say to me, where do you get ideas for your book? And the truth is, I can have an idea, but we are not sole operators. We're part of a team that everyone has to sort of say, okay, what story can we sell and how are we going to sell it? And so
Maybe that's where we differ.
yeah, I
I'm
had
not
this
really
conversation.
part of a team.
No, well, this is what's different, and I'll say this. I always have these conversations with my publisher or editor, whoever that is for whatever book. And we do have a conversation, and it's a group decision. What does the cover look like? What is the title like? And I think you've
No.
chosen to not have that dynamic.
No, I write in my writer's room in New York City where I do all my writing, and then I just pray and feel sick for a long time hoping that someone will publish it, and I take tremendous cuts in pay and just am humiliated every step of the way, but I'm going to try that. It never occurred to me to ask my team anything.
For the record, I'm not asking, you're telling, but no. But it is interesting because what was the longest gap you went between books?
Well, Jamie, thanks for asking that. 13 years. Are we allowed to curse on the live stream?
Sure.
13 fucking years. 13 years. So, but that's nothing. Some people take a long time to write a book.
Yeah. But I missed it. I was like, because there's only one person who writes like you. And so I really felt that. No, I'm serious. And
I can't tell if I'm being roasted or...
No. I told Jenny, I have a 23-year-old daughter, and the single only book, we're very different. She reads an entirely different canon. The only novel we ever agreed on with our equal love for it is Jenny's book, Little Stalker, which came out, what year is that, like
No idea.
2010, maybe around that. No, but seriously, but each book, like, and you say that it's not a team effort, but I think that really shows in the way the books read.
But
Like,
we have the same taste in books and the same books that we both love, I think. I mean, Jacqueline Suzanne is one of my heroes. Isn't she one of your heroes?
Yes.
And Judy Blume.
Yeah.
And when I read your book, this book especially, which is so fantastic, I feel there's nobody, Judy Blume, there's nobody like her because she has a way of just bringing you into the room. You're just there. And that's what this does. It grabs you and it brings you right into that room with that same immediacy that Jacqueline Suzanne or Judy Blume or many, many writers who I love. So I think we're the same, but you think we're different.
I don't think we're that different, and I think in sensibility.
For instance, both of our husbands were the last to arrive today. They just came in under the wire. I was watching. We have a lot in common.
Right, so why don't you tell everyone what Swanna is about?
Okay. My book, Swanna in Love, is about a 14-year-old girl in 1982 who has a love affair with a 38-year-old married dad. That's what my book is about. So you can read it on the beach.
Okay, so yeah, but see, they're not going to throw a beach on that cover.
No,
Right.
no, but I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
I had never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have done without spit on the cover because this made me very nervous, and I didn't need to lose any more sleep than I was already losing. But the original cover had an eye and a swan's wing, but someone thought it was a turkey leg. And it had a road. I liked the road, but I don't know. It was really my neighbor thought that the road and the turkey leg were very boring, so she actually designed this, and they went with it.
Oh, wow.
So
She had a very serious concussion at the time. She wasn't really thinking straight, but it's fine. It's good. It's good. I mean, obviously we don't judge books by their covers.
Never.
Right?
Right. So in contrast, this is about a 25-year-old, around that young woman who spent her summers working in a Provincetown bookstore, and I pictured it a lot like East End Books, right on the beach. And she really gains, like, this, she knows she wants to be a writer, and she swears the summer between college and the real world, the next time I come back to Provincetown, it's going to be as a published writer. And she goes to grad school, and she does it, and she comes back to P-Town, like, feeling triumphant, and she realizes when she gets to town that the book that was successful actually also succeeded in alienating all the people she loves most in Provincetown. And the summer is sort of her attempt to reconcile what she wants, you know, in terms of ambition and her friends, and to sort of redeem herself.
This book is a love letter to Provincetown. I mean, there's a paragraph about biting into a Scots cake.
Yeah.
He should pay you $1 million for that, because I've had 3 since I've been here. Not that I wouldn't have anyway, because we're both very connected to Provincetown. I spent every summer in North Truro, and then my dad bought a house here, which he just sold, so I'm in an Airbnb now. But I gave tours of the Highland Lighthouse when I was a kid, and I sold paper flowers in front of the lighthouse for money. And my brother and I, my little brother's a character in this book, we used to spend our summers finding stray golf balls on the golf course in North Truro and selling them back to the golfers. That's how we made a living when we were So, and this book is just a love letter to Provincetown and also to East End Books, really.
Yeah, I came here much later. I had written a novel before I actually ever came to Provincetown, and I came because I saw the CBS Sunday Morning Show did a segment on it, and I tell this story often throughout the years. But Michael Cunningham spoke, and he called Provincetown an eccentric sanctuary, and I'm like, okay, I have to see what that's about. And I think really I became a beach author, writing books at the beach after that first trip to Provincetown, because I wanted to write a book set here. And that was the book, The Forever Summer. And that was my first day in town. I met Buck here in
Do you mean
Duke. So I introduced this book as Duke. People, the book is about a woman writing about people she knows, and I usually never do, but I did. I think I told you early on, Buck, that I was thinking of writing, right?
Yes.
But we met very early on, and I felt like this is a place where I could walk into a bookstore and meet someone who I know is going to be a lifelong friend. And I've been to many, many towns and many, many, places, and it's just not, that doesn't happen. And it's happened here several times. So I came late, but I fell in love hard, and this is my, I think, fourth novel set in Provincetown.
I think all of my books mention summering in North Truro or Provincetown, including my first one, Going Down. And the whole point of that is just to be invited here. Let's face it, Jamie.
So you want to read it?
Oh, sure, I will. Okay, trigger warning only to my own children. I was saying to Jamie, I hope there aren't going to be any kids here, but I forgot about my own kids. So you could please leave before I read this extremely dirty section. No, I'm not kidding.
I was going to say, I'm not kidding.
Shepherd,
Plug your ears.
you're not.
They haven't read it already?
What?
They haven't read the book already?
No way. Thank you. Okay.
Good luck.
I've never read this this part because of this very reason. But we're in Provincetown. We left the restaurant and got into his car. I should take you back, he said. I don't want to go back. He held my hand. This is going to end in tears. Yours or mine, I said. You're a tough cookie, he said. Weirdly, that was what my father called me. It was pretty much the only thing he called me that I didn't mind. I don't usually like a lot of people, he said, but I liked you the minute I met you. I really like you. I can tell, I said. Oh yeah? How can you tell? Because you're married, but you're here with me. That's true. You produce funny feelings in me. What kind of feelings? I don't know. Joy, exhilaration, mad jealousy, like I'm on an alpine slide whooshing down a mountain. Jealousy, I said? Yes, jealousy. Who are you jealous of? Everybody. That jerk Kroger. I'm jealous of New York. I don't want you to go. I nodded solemnly because I understood being jealous of New York. What are you thinking about? He said. You've gone quiet on me. I'm having fun, I said. Me too, he said. But he didn't look like he was having fun. You don't know anything about me, I said. He laughed even though I wasn't kidding. I suppose that's true. I know you go to Columbia and you're writing a novel. I don't go to Columbia, I said. I wasn't writing a novel yet either, but I planned to. He looked confused. Where do you go? High school. Bronx High School of Science. Wait, how old are you? It's okay, I said. I was starting to get annoyed by how shocked he looked. You just made a whole alpine slide speech about whooshing down a mountain, and now you're having a heart attack just because I said I'm in high school. I'm old enough to have a heart attack, he said. I should take you back. I don't want to go back. Let's hang out in your car. Let's go to a motel. Swanna, I shouldn't. You're in high school. I'm married. Can you just get me a motel room for the night? I don't feel like going back there. We drove in silence, and I didn't know if he was just going to take me back to ArtCom or take me to a motel. I never told you I went to Columbia, I said after a while. You asked me if I live near Columbia, and I said yes. I don't live that near, actually, 30 blocks or so. I saw a sign for the Black Swan Motel. That motel had my name on it, I said, but he kept driving. Then he pulled over to the side of the road. He just sat there saying nothing for a few minutes. Bronx High School of Science, is that how you know about the Hippocratic Oath? I shook my head no. MASH, I said. How old are you? Almost 18, I said. Haven't you ever seen the movie Manhattan? What year were you born? 1965. Jesus. Why don't I take you back to the art place now, and then we can go out again tomorrow and talk about things. If you don't like me enough to take me to a motel, then forget it. I knew I sounded like a kid. I don't want to have to talk to you into it. Maybe you should take me back. Don't be mad, he said. I'm just trying to figure out the right thing to do. I'm not mad. He didn't say anything. Then he made a U-turn and drove into the parking lot of the Black Swan Motel. You're pretty good looking for a high school kid, you know that? I smiled. He leaned into me and I leaned into him, and we kissed. I closed my eyes and felt his tongue on mine. His stubble was rough on my cheeks. I had never felt anything like that before. So, do you want to go inside? I was smiling and teasing him. I looked at the bulge in his pants. I pretended to start to take my shirt off, and his eyes got wide and he grabbed my hands. Stop, man, you're a barn burner. Fine, let's go inside, he said. I'm going to check in, wait here. We got out of the car and I watched him go into a door that said office at the end of the row of doors. He got back into the car and started driving, and I thought we were leaving, but he was just parking in front of what was going to be our room. I had never been to a motel, although I had seen them in movies. He got out of the car and walked around to open my door, and I got out. He opened the motel room door, and I walked in first. The room had a lot of brown wood in it, a desk and TV, a big bed with a brown stiff cover on it, and a brown couch. I sat down on the edge of the bed and kicked off my high heels. He sat down next to me and kissed me. I touched his hard-on through his pants and took my shirt off and then my bra. He was breathing hard and squirming around a lot, and I just kept looking him right in the eye and smiling. Are you giggling? Do you want to leave the room? I was feeling extremely confident, considering. I took off my jeans and lay down on the bed, and he took off his clothes and lay down on top of me. He was heavy, and I could feel his hard penis pressing into my panties. His chest hovered over my face. I've never done this before, I said quietly. I'm a virgin. We don't have to, he said. I want to, I said. He smiled at me and kissed me. I've never wanted anyone more in my entire life. Then there's this extremely dirty part but my son, one of my sons is still here, so I'm going to skip down to this. Just put it in me. Just put it in me, I said. You're only 17, he said. We should wait till I'm 18, I teased. Maybe, or until you're ready. We don't have condoms, I said. Actually, we do. He sounded embarrassed. They had them in the office. He got up and picked up his jeans from the chair and took a little packet out of the front pocket. You sure you're 17? He stood in the middle of the brown carpet with his hard-on and a helpless expression on his face. It was pretty amusing. Why, do you think I'm older or younger? I wondered if he could tell from making out with me that I was 14. What grade are you in? 11th, I said. Wait, he said. I mean, I finished 11th. I'm starting 12th. What are you taking in math? Pre-calc, I said. Why, are you going to give me a quiz? What's a polynomial function? You really want to talk to me about positive powers of x, I said, or do you want to do this? He was standing by the bed now, so I sat up and, well, I'm going to skip this part too. I don't think you're a terrible person, I said, just maybe not the best conversationalist right now. We should put a towel down, he said, if it's your first time. I nodded and he went to get a towel from the bathroom. He was saying there was going to be blood. I knew that, although I hadn't really thought about it. But he was an obstetrician. He could handle this. I was in good hands. I had made a good choice. In Forever by Judy Blume, she finally loses her virginity on page 115 after an agonizingly long time on a multicolored rug at his friend's house. But there was no way I was going to do it on the brown shag carpet of the motel. That page had been playing in a loop in my mind since the first time I had read it. Her first time was occurring simultaneously with mine, like we were losing our virginity together in different rooms of the same house. I had to worry about both of us. I loved that book, but if I were her, I would have lost my virginity by about page 60. He put the towel down. This is, by the way, page 123. He put the towel, so I lied. He put the towel down, brown of course, and started pressing it against me. I've never been this turned on, he said, but we should wait. I took off my panties and shook my head. I want to do it with you. It might hurt, he said. I know, I said. I know everything about it. Oh, you do you? He rolled on the condom and I closed my eyes. He did it to me. It felt like being shot. My eyes filled with tears and I gasped. Don't cry, I told myself. You wanted this. You're not a stupid virgin anymore. Does it hurt, he asked. I shook my head no. It feels so good. I watched him shaking over me like Poseidon moving the sea. I had never felt so powerful. I had done this to him. I was in complete control of him. I was more powerful than Poseidon. I was more powerful than anyone. He put his face in my hair and kissed my neck. It's going to get better, he said. Next time will be easier. I couldn't speak. Do not cry, I commanded myself. I imagined myself turned to stone. You spoiled me tonight, he said. I laughed because it was funny to think of a kid spoiling a grown-up. I have to tell you something, I said. I really wanted to tell him the truth. I didn't want our relationship to be based on a lie. I'm not 17, I whispered. He groaned. No pre-calc? Nope, geometry. You're 16? I shook my head no. I wanted him to know I was 14. I'm 15, I said. That's too young, he said. I don't feel too young, I said. All right.
See what I mean? Like Poseidon and Judy Blume in a sex scene. Like that's wow, that's a lot to follow.
There's a lot of sex in this book. My first book, Going Down, the one Madonna option, which is about a prostitute who puts herself through NYU. That book has absolutely no sex in it. A book about a hooker with 0 sex scenes, but this has sex in it.
Yeah.
I finally did it.
But there is a very indelible STD scene.
Going down. Yeah.
So, okay, I don't have any sex scenes in this book, which you can probably tell from the cover, once again, branding. So, I'm going to just read the beginning.
Great.
The thing is, my editor really wanted me to write, actually I might read a different scene. My editor really encouraged me to write about a writer, and I've written a bunch of books about women who did different things. Like I had an oyster farmer and a jewelry designer and a winemaker. And when she suggested writing as one of the characters' jobs, I thought that's a fool's errand because it's such a, you're not doing anything anyone can see. It's very interior, it's not social. How am I going to build a book around that? So one of the things I tried to do was show some of the external things like book readings or being in a bookstore and seeing people pick up your book. I also have a scene where I showed this writer talking to her agent, having lunch with her agent right when her book hits the New York Times bestseller list. So maybe I'll read that scene actually. So the author, Shelby, has published a book. She's already done a reading in Provincetown where her friends have expressed their displeasure with her. And now she's meeting with her agent, again, supposedly doing something that's a bit of a victory lap, but she's extremely, she's carrying the weight of having upset her friend, and she's also carrying the weight of the expectation of a follow-up book. So this is her sitting down to lunch with her agent, Claudia. The maitre d' greeted Claudia by name, leading them to a red leather banquette. The room was full of carved mahogany with enormous brass mirrors, high tin ceilings, and antique lamps that gave the place a turn-of-the-century candlelight glow. Claudia tucked the edge of her silver blonde bob behind one ear, ordering a bottle of champagne. When it arrived, she made a toast. To Secrets of Summer, she said, your first New York Times bestseller, but certainly not your last. They clinked their glasses together, but before Shelby finished taking her first sip, Claudia said, so how's the new manuscript coming? That was fast. Her next novel, Guest Rooms, was about 2 competing bed and breakfast owners in Provincetown who banded together when a new modern hotel threatened both of their businesses, and it was taking forever to write. Great, Shelby said. She didn't want to admit she was behind schedule, or that the fallout with Hunter was messing with her head. It was difficult to think about Provincetown every day, knowing that her best friend there hated her. Worse, there was nothing Shelby seemed to be able to do to make it up to her. She'd sent Hunter flowers, apology notes, and a dinner delivery from Liz's cafe. Hunter didn't respond to any of it. I had drinks with your editor last night, Claudia said. She's eager to get the next one on the calendar. She'd like to publish a book every summer. Shelby nodded. She knew this. Her editor planned for Shelby to be part of the ever-growing category of beach books. Shelby didn't mind labels. One thing they didn't teach her in grad school, but that she learned from Claudia, was that if an author didn't know where their book would go on the bookstore shelf, a publisher wouldn't know either, and wouldn't want to publish it. I'll have some pages for you soon, Shelby said. How soon? Shelby did a quick mental calculation. She had to finish the story arc and round out the characters. She'd already put in half a year, and according to Stephen King, a first draft should only take 3 months. And who would argue with Stephen King? August 1st, she said. Great, looking forward to seeing what you've got for me. She looked across the table at Claudia, who was momentarily distracted by an incoming text. Maybe she should be more honest with her. Shelby didn't have to pretend to be perfect. After all, Claudia had responded to her early draft of Secrets of Summer, back when Shelby was just an unproven writer. Claudia had believed in her then. Surely she could admit that she was struggling a little bit now. A friend of mine got mad at me for things I wrote in the book, Shelby said carefully. I used some real-life details for the main character. Claudia refilled Shelby's glass of Perrier. I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but it comes with success. I've heard all sorts of negative reactions from writers, friends, and family. They wrote about them, they didn't write about them. This was true, that wasn't true. It comes with the territory. You're an artist. You've got a right to draw inspiration where you find it. And like the saying goes, better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. Shelby nodded. But what happened when she begged forgiveness and didn't get it? I know that in many ways writing the second novel is harder than the first. You've lost a sort of creative innocence. That's normal. Claudia leaned forward. But Shelby, do get cracking. You don't want to miss publishing next summer. Readers have short memories.
About writing, Jamie writes for the character of Shelby, crafting a novel was a delicate balance of asking the right question, but not waiting until she had all the answers to begin writing. In fact, it was the opposite. Writing a novel was a leap of faith. If a novelist wanted to know everything, they would need to get from page 1 to the final sentence. They would be paralyzed. That's one of my favorite lines in this book. That's exactly how I feel as a writer. And I think you did a great job of writing about a writer, because you talked about all the glitzy stuff and the hard stuff and the technical stuff, which I think people are really interested in. But you also really brought some of this to the page in a very real way. So I'm surprised that you were even worried about that.
Thank you.
Because it's really great.
Thank you, Jenny. Well, I appreciate that, because Jenny teaches writing, and what I think is super interesting, because I've had friends who've taken her class and love it. Should I tell them about how you teach them to write?
Okay.
She starts them in the middle of their novel, and she starts there, and then you bring them back to the beginning.
Well, I don't bring anybody anywhere, but the way I write is, because I don't want to know all the answers like Shelby, because that would paralyze me. That's exactly what I don't use the word paralyze, I use the word intimidate. Mm-hmm. So I like to sink into a character who's not unlike myself, and have that character have tiny little adventures that I think of as scenes. So I don't sit down and write chapter 1, and when I started to write books, if I had thought that I needed to have a big plot or a big philosophy or a big point I wanted to make or a big anything, I would have been completely paralyzed, to use Shelby's word. I want to know who is Anders Fleming in the book? Is he here?
No. Not that I can tell you if he was.
Oh.
No, I really thought of that. I'm telling you, I thought of that old movie, Crossing Delancey, and how she falls in love with that pompous author when there's actually like a really nice, humble guy. Who
So that's he's not here.
he's not here. He's not here.
I'll be him if you want me to be.
That's a very nice offer.
Should we take questions?
Oh yeah, we can. But I wanted to ask a question. So your book is about the ethics of writing fiction, and that's something that we grapple with, and I do lead writing workshops for decades now, and it comes up constantly. I can't write this because my parents are alive, or I can't write this with my children, or it's, and I make this big speech about having guts. You have to have guts, and you can't hold back, and you worry about it later. And so I wrote my first book going down, and it really hit me in the face right away, because my Aunt Ruth, who's a very, very wealthy woman, got it into her head that I had written something bad about my grandmother, her mother, and she hadn't read the book, and I had not. I absolutely had not, and she disowned me, which was significant because all of my cousins were getting huge amounts of money at the holidays, and I was not. So then I wrote an article called Travails. Oh, then she wrote me a very angry letter, and I wrote an article about it that was published in London. And I didn't know that it would come out in London the very week she moved to London. But meanwhile, I thought that writing that book would destroy my relationship with my father, because it's tough on my father. And I made the conscious choice that I was okay with that. I wanted to write this book, and I was okay with that. And what happened was my father couldn't have been more proud of me. Like I had dropped out of high school, I dropped out of college, I'd never done anything or completed anything. So he was so proud of it, even though I had hurt him in the book. So you never know who's going to take offense to your book or who's not going to take offense to your book, who should. And this is something that Shelby's sort of blindsided. I mean, she writes this book about this town that she loves with the people in it, and then she comes back to work in the bookstore to help her friend, and one after the other she's hit with people being upset with her. So has that been your experience as a writer at all, or did you read my diary, or what happened here?
Okay, there's only one. This is in the summer of 2020. I was at Angel Foods, and Liz was there, and she was like, "Why have you not written about?" And the truth was, I just really was spending so much time in one particular. So, and I felt terrible. And so the book I was writing that summer, I made sure to set a scene at Liz's cafe, where I happen to be living up the street from. So I probably would have anyway. But that's that's the only time. But I really did have Buck read every manuscript, because I didn't want to accidentally create a character who seemed like someone in town. And
that was a great scene when she discovers this character of Duke is angry at her, and she's completely shocked. I love that scene. And then Duke is sitting right here in the audience.
Buck had this bumper sticker on his truck that said "Gut fish, not houses," and I always loved it. It stuck in my mind, so I wrote it in the book. Right. But the woman had written the book. She'd mentioned that as a characteristic, not realizing that who it belonged to. But yeah, I think
it's a tough dilemma, and I like the way you tackled it in your book.
Thank you. Should we open it up?
Yes. Anybody offended who wants to time?
I'm only offended when I'm not in your books.
That's a problem too, probably.
That wasn't really a question.
Well, I think, not to be like the first person to jump in, but
Please do.
so many of the reviews I've read of Swanna and so much of the reaction has been, oh my god, this 14-year-old girl, and like this inverse Lolita and everything, which I think is a huge, wonderful part of the book. But I think that kind of takes away from Swanna's mother as an artist, and the characters of the mother and the boyfriend are so beautifully written. I was living for all the nicknames of like Boris all the time. It was so funny and so well written. And there was a line in it that just resonated like a tuning fork when Swanna said, I would rather have a muse than be one. And I thought that was like, so maybe I'm getting it opposite, but it was just so beautifully done and really well written, and a good point about art and the lives of artists and writers and everything. So
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
I thought that was really great, because
Thank you.
that is part of the book, is this young girl's coming of age, but I think the community of artists around her absolutely informs her decisions and her choices.
Oh
and
yeah,
all of that.
she's a very neglected kid for sure, and she's really the aggressor, and she's she just wants to get home to New York. She's stuck in the terrible state of Vermont, desperate to get out of there. So she's just trying to have some agency and get home. I've gotten good reviews for this book, which is a miracle, thank you God. And but one person wrote on Amazon, which I glance at from time to time, I don't believe a married man would do such a thing.
Can I ask you a question of each of you? Okay, so Jamie, I'm going to ask you, since you are someone who writes a book every summer, do you really think that readers have short memories? I mean, if you are you going to keep? I mean, I don't know how you do it. If the pace is extraordinary, I think you have a good following of readers. Don't you think they would wait 2 years or a year and a half?
I don't believe that, really. I think I was just showing, kind of using it as a type of sort of random proclamation that puts pressure. I think there's a lot of things that put, once you're writing, and I was saying this to Jenny, because she was like, what's your favorite book you ever wrote? And I said, my first one, because I didn't have any feedback, I didn't feel any time pressure, you know what I mean? Once you have one book out there, it's like you get a lot of noise. You know, there's people who, you get a timetable and there's contracts, and it's never just the way it was in the beginning when you're like, maybe someday I'll get this published. And I think, I don't think readers have short memories. Maybe publishers do, I don't know. But I think there's a lot of stress and perception about what it takes to survive in this current marketplace, which is extremely crowded and extremely competitive.
I used to make this speech to my students all the time that this time when they were writing their first book before they were published was the happiest time of their life. And I know that they didn't believe me, and I sounded like a very pretentious bitch, but it is. It's the happiest time of your life before you get that agent and before you get that editor. Unfortunately today, it's so hard to get an agent that I stopped making the speech, because it's just become insanely hard out there. But yes,
it's a sort of a loss of innocence in a way, just like, she lost her virginity, literally. But I think when you're a writer, you lose something too once your work is like crosses that threshold, so it's out in the world.
Okay, now my next question for you. So I haven't read Swanna in Love yet, but I've read about it, and I listened to you speak about it. The book is set in 1975.
82.
Sorry, the book is set in 1982. Have you had any experience of readers reading it through the sort of lens of today? Because this book probably couldn't be written in the same way today.
I another one of my big speeches is I say to my kids, no one can cancel you but you. And my kids, while I was writing this book, they're like, you're gonna get canceled, Mom. You're gonna get canceled. And I was like, nobody can cancel you but you. And at night, I would think, I'm gonna get canceled. And I haven't been. You know, the truth is, except for that woman on Facebook, I haven't been, and I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if maybe nobody's read the book and nobody knows about the book, and or maybe I've just managed to slide under the radar, or maybe it's just this moment that I'm catching where we're seeing how insane cancel culture is, and we're on the way back, and I'm so unpolitically correct all the time that I'm just making it somehow, or maybe people feel so sorry for her because she is very neglected and unparented. I don't know the answer, but I have not had pushback on this book that I fully expected to have. And I really now am used to not having pushback, so I don't want any pushback now.
It's interesting too that publishers, or
Oh, I had it from publishers.
oh, you did, okay.
Yeah,
So not every
so-
publisher was.
So I got when this book was going out to publishers, I got a lot of people saying, and the agent in the audience is nodding. I got a lot of publishers saying, you know, we really love Jenny, but this we don't have I don't have a vision for this. Like suddenly every publisher was blind, no vision.
Yeah.
You know, they were scared to death, and most of them wouldn't even put a name to it or say anything. They just were very shocked, and so yeah. But one publisher wanted it, and it's been fantastic to work with Akashic. I've been really happy there.
Is a compliment allowed?
Yes, Mr. Fleming.
This is a good question. Yeah, so anyway, I could go on for ages about your books, Jennifer, but one of the things I love about them is that you're able to introduce, let's say, gutsy or unusual content, or even, you know, content that people would just be aghast by. But the way that you do it is so real. The characters are drawn so real that you don't even question the content. You just go right into the book, and I just wanted to say that I think that's a remarkable part of your work.
That's a great compliment. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a writerly question.
This is the great writer Lucinda Rosenfeld.
Oh my goodness. How do you, I've been thinking about this in my own stuff. How do you decide, each one of you, I'm curious, what voice to write in first person, third person, closed, you know, drawn by? I'm curious how you come to that in your books, because I'm not familiar with all the work here. So, like, tell me how you land on your voice. Which to me, voice is like basically an entire book. Is writing is voice, and you both have
Well, I've
very
written
fluid styles.
except for some short stories here and there, I've written in the first person every time, and this was the voice that came the easiest to me, this 14-year-old girl. I think maybe I am 14. But Jamie is a master of the third person, multiple point of view. So you talk more about how I'd like to know the answer to that too.
First, how do you, when you write in first person fiction in first person,
Yeah.
how do you negotiate the distance between yourself and that character, first person? Do you just go?
I refuse to negotiate against myself. I don't negotiate.
They're
I
not
just
all strictly. They're not writing completely.
I,
You're not writing
I,
a biography.
I sink into a character who's not unlike myself,
Okay.
and I just start writing. And I don't start at the beginning, and I don't know where it's going. And I write. I get very spiritual. I sit in the back at the canteen, and I just say, "Please let something happen here today, God. Please let me write something," and then I do. That's it.
And Jane.
So yeah, I always write from multiple points of view, and some might be male, some are female. It doesn't really matter to me. And I started doing that even in college, I read a writing guidebook from Rita Mae Brown, and she said she was very extreme and explicit. Like, you have to be able to write male, female, gay, straight, whatever it is. Like, it's your job to be able to inhabit any form. And I think that stuck with me. But it's not that I feel like I should write that way. I just feel like I to keep like momentum in the story, I really like having conflicting people's conflicting perceptions of the same events, because to me that creates drama. So there's 2 people or 3 people at a party, and they're all experiencing a completely different party. And then when they're dealing with those different experiences, that's when they start getting into conflict, because we all do live in our own reality. We're in our own little bubble. And that's when you start getting into problems with people, because you're both right and you're both wrong. And I like to, every book of mine has that dynamic with people bumping up against each other's, their own personal reality and the wants and needs that come into play with that.
I had an interesting question thinking about both of you. I have been coming out to the Cape my whole life, knowing that you have both, whether long-term or more recently, found this space and this place. What do you think it is about the Cape, maybe Provincetown in particular, that lends itself to being such a creative place, and even, especially in this book, a real character, right? The place is really a character. What is the magic? How do you see the magic of this space and place?
I wish I could put my finger on it. Like, I'm not the most, like, I can be, especially on the road, like cranky, and I'm very fussy. Something about this place, and I think everyone in this room has tried to explain it, and we can't. And I think it's like you feel it or you don't, and I feel it, and luckily I've been able to like at least get part of that feeling on the page. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even take credit for having this place as a character, because it just is a character, and it gives so much. And I've been to so many beach towns all over the country, and I can tell you, like, there is no place like it. There's something special. It sounds corny, but it's like, I can't define it. And you could say, oh, people get to be themselves or this and that. Yes, but why are we able to do that here? I don't know. It's in I can't define it. I just feel it. I think we all feel it.
I am a professional eavesdropper for a living, and I heard a guy on a bike say to another guy, if you have a handlebar mustache, don't talk to me like you don't have a handlebar mustache. That's all I have to say about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Would you mind comparing notes between yourselves and while we eavesdrop about your relationship to your characters? How do you think about them? Do they wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning? How close or how far away from them do you maintain your distance? There seems to be such an affinity between the two of you. I'm really curious if you treat your characters in similar fashion or not.
Michael Cunningham gave a talk at a book expo at the Javits Center, and he said, I listen to my characters, and when I go to sleep at night, I wake up in the morning excited to see what my characters will tell me to do. And then Nick Hornby spoke right after him, and Nick Hornby had missed his flight, and he was late and hadn't been able to hear Michael Cunningham. And Nick Hornby said, don't you hate those assholes who say that they listen to their characters tell them? He says, I go to bed at night and I come down in the morning to my computer and they have done nothing. So, I really try to tell the emotional truth, whatever that is. I'm not so much crafting characters as I am keeping my eyes open and ears open and trying to bring some life to the page and some truth. So, I mean, my relationship is not a negotiation or distanced at all from my characters. And also I am all my characters. I'm the bus driver, and I'm the homeless person on the street. I mean, I'm 100% all of them. I guess I'm just an enormous narcissist of some kind, although not as bad as my mother. Yeah, so that's my relationship with them.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the Nick Hornby camp as well. I don't think about character as much as I think about the things that are affecting the character. So it's like I spend a lot of time thinking about plot and what's going to happen in the story, and then that often guides the character, because it's like I have someone who wants something very much, and then I think of all the things along the way that are keeping that character from getting it, and so that tension is what gives me the cues to where the character needs to go. I never think of it separate, like character and what's going to happen. It's completely intertwined.
Thank you.
Anything else? I wanted to say, I really.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Oh, thanks. Your book, Swanna. I mean, I felt like that. There were so many layers of complexity in the book. So it's just, yes. As I was reading it, I could see where, and I know some people, like some of my mother's friends in Aiken, South Carolina, would be reading some of it and going, oh, But then, like, Swanna was such a, such a well-rounded, such a brilliant kind of character. Even with everything going on with Swanna and all of Swanna's objectives, Swanna was still thinking about her little brother and still thinking about all these other issues, thinking about, the detail in there, like thinking about whether or not her father's girlfriend had gone through any of her stuff, at her place there. And all these details were rich, and and even the young brother. I mean, the details were fantastic all the way through the story. So I really, really loved it. Like, it wasn't like it was. I didn't feel like there was anything gratuitous in it in terms of, I felt like it all made sense in terms of the story that was being told, and that you also were really great about letting us know so much more about Swanna, and there was so much more about Swanna. I think at times that, I felt a little, I can't imagine like being that smart in some ways, but also not, but smart in some ways at that age. To me, it was like amazing. So I was really enjoyed it, like I said, and read it, and then listened to the voice on the audio book and had some different perspectives as well from that. And I did similarly with Jamie's. So that was really great. And
I appreciate it so much.
no, thanks. And I'm looking forward to, your other books and getting your backlist in our store in Boston as well. And
Thank you.
and then Jamie, Jamie's books, I mean, all of her books, not only the ones that are set in Provincetown, but among the many things I've loved is just how much the love and friendships that are there. Even when people are upset with each other, even when friends were upset with each other, you knew they still loved each other, like cared about each other and didn't want anything bad to happen to them. And it's just, I just feel like, and the ones that are in Provincetown, obviously live here and I love this place, but it makes it even more extra special. But I just feel like you really get all those nuances in Provincetown in terms of the town, like somebody said, the town as a character, and then the quirky, eccentric characters that we all are, which is why it's so wonderful being here. But I also found too, Jamie, with your books like that weren't set here, that you've got that same kind of character. Like I really feel like I'm getting to know these people, and the problem that I have with Jamie's books is that I want them to be like 3 times as long, because I don't want to end. It's like Swanna too. It's like you get into the rhythm of the book and you're really enjoying the style of the writing and everything, and then you start slowing down, or at least I do, because I was like, this book is not long enough. It's going to end soon, and then that's kind of what I like about the audiobook world taking off now, is I read it, then I listen to it, then I read it again. So it's like that kind of thing. But
I think this is especially gratifying because you're a man. I hate to say it, but I think we're both, we sort of expect women to like our books, and I think men like our books, and that's really, it really means a lot to me to hear you say that.
oh, thanks. No, I mean, clearly, I mean, you both have such big audiences, and like I said, I always learn from authors, fiction, not just nonfiction, and like your book, Jamie, Blush. It's like, I enjoy wine, and I toured this or that, but I learned so much more through the book Blush. And then, okay, yeah, I'm a man, but the stuff with Jacqueline Suzanne and the secret book club, I won't say more, with Blush, resonated with me because it made me think of my mother. I love Jacqueline Suzanne. I was thinking of my mother. My mother has read every one of Jamie's books. I sent them down to Aiken, South Carolina, and she loves Jamie. And so I look at that kind of thing as like we're learning and we're traveling along with you, with these different books, with these stories and everything. And yours was like, Swanna was like almost like a road story. I mean, it really was like a road trip kind of book and everything. So anyway, the two of you are fantastic, and this is such a great pairing. And I just wondered how you two know each other and how you decided to come together to talk for this event.
I don't know how we know each other. We have mutual friends. Somebody in my workshop is a great writer named Nicola Harrison, who wrote Hotel Laguna and The Showgirl and Montauk. She wrote all those books in my workshop, and I admire her a lot, and she admires Jamie. And when I reached out to you to see if I could have a reading here, which was a dream of mine, sincerely, my publisher wanted to know who I would be in conversation with, and I thought of Jamie right away, and she said yes.
And I was, of course, thrilled because I've been reading Jenny since I was just working in publishing, like never thinking I'd ever be a writer. So overall, both of us, dream come true, amazing.
But we met for the first time today, and I hope we'll meet many more times.
Well, no, we met at your.
I
went to see her at the Strand. When this book came out, she had a big reading at the Strand in New York City. So we met that night.
Yes,
but it was
that's right.
overwhelming. There were so many people there.
Yes.
But we had our first real sit-down conversation today. In private, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
More to come. Not any more to
I
come.
hope so.
Yeah.
More book parties, more readings here, and more sit-down conversations. I hope.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that I can extend an invitation to the two of you to come back once the beautiful Waterfront Public Park is finished, because I would love to have the two of you back together talking at an oceanfront event. This was amazing, but I'd love to have you at an oceanfront event when that new park is built that the town is doing. It's going to be lovely when it's finished.
Fantastic.
So,
That's good.
invitation for same books if you don't have a new one out, if it's done early, or new books coming in the future. But thank you so much. Do we have any final questions before we go?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.